Well, I have gone and done it now. I don't strip furniture. That's what I should have said. I don't strip furniture because it's not fun. It sucks, actually. I do the tops of dressers every once in a while, but there's a reason I only do the tops of dressers, because I don't like to do stripping and sanding and restaining and all of that jazz. It sucks. And very few people want to pay the amount of money that it's going to cost in order to make it lucrative for me to do it. But the mama of my daughter's best friend, since they were literally 2.5 months old and they are now 15, asked me if I would do this for her. And I said yes. She said no. So here it is in all its glory. So my first question was, is it painted on the inside? First time I was not answered. Second time I asked it, the son said, no, it's not painted on the inside. And she is precious. So I'm gonna do what I can. But I should have said no. So I've got my stripper, my plastic wrap, and my chip brush that I'm gonna toss in the end. And I'm going to test on the bottom. Oh, and did I mention that it's not hand painted? It's an Ethan Allen factory finish. So it's like on there. You should have said no. Just doing the tiniest little bit. I don't know if it's gonna work. Now, the reason I say that I'm not sure it's going to work is because I'm not sure what type of finish this is. I've never encountered a secretary desk that was painted on the bottom by the company and natural wood on the top. Just gonna wrap this up for later. Let's see what we're dealing with. All right, it took it off fairly well. It's going to take a couple of coats to get as dark as the top. So the stripper that you see me using here is a citrus gel stripper that boasts to be non-toxic. I personally think it stinks, so I still always wear a mask when dealing with it. And then so it doesn't dry out, you'll want to cover everything in plastic wrap. I'm just going side by side here.
20 minutes later.
The amount of time that I wait per piece to take the plastic off to see if it's eaten away, it differs per piece because you don't know how many coats of paint, what kind of finish there is. But you'll know when you look at it underneath the plastic, it will start to eat away at it. It'll start to look like really old leather or crackled vinyl, and you'll know it's eating through the layers of paint. You can always do a test, peel up just a little bit of the plastic and scrape at it to see what's going on. But most of the time, I wait 20 to 30 minutes. If it's really tough, sometimes I'll wait an hour. It just depends. I do know that a lot of secretary desks can be disassembled by finding the little intricate screws and removing this part of the inside, but I couldn't find them. It seemed to be in there really, really good. So I opted to leave it in and just work with it. As difficult as it is to get in all these nooks and crannies, and trust me, it is difficult. I do not recommend stripping secretary desks. It is just a difficult process, and trust me, I did not charge enough. I always think of toilet paper when I'm rolling my plastic because I do it the opposite way. Like I'm rolling under here, but I roll over in the bathroom. We're gonna let that eat for a little bit. So again, I waited about 20, 25 minutes, or maybe it was that one day I forgot and left it on there for a couple hours. I can't be sure, but I got my handy dandy, trusty, big ass scraper that I got off of Amazon, which is linked in the video below. Go check out my Amazon store, you guys. I've got a lot of really good handy tools in there that I use on a daily basis. Some might surprise you, and some you might find extremely helpful, so go check it out. So the trick to getting off all of your gross paint and the rest of the gel stripper that is still sitting on parts of your piece here is to pour paint thinner on top of it and then scrub at it with a quadruple steel wool. It's going to get a lot of that goop up. You can't just get it with soap and water. It doesn't work that way. This is an oil-based product and it's bad for your skin. So make sure that you're wearing gloves. It's really bad for your lungs as well. So make sure you're wearing a respirator. A mask will help, but you really should be wearing a masquerader. Whatever. English is hard. Respirator. It's just going to help keep all those fumes out of your body because, trust me, you don't want that stuff in there. You will be smelling it the whole rest of the day. Trust, okay? I'll be honest, I was struggling here. I couldn't hardly get my elbows in to scrape the tiny little bits of this drawer. That's why I would have turned down the job if I'd known it was painted on the inside. This is just not my cup of tea. I would have perhaps tried to talk her out of stripping the inside and just keeping the outside stripped. I would have done differently. But here's the thing. I was there to pick it up, and she was so happy that I was going to be doing this job that when they flipped it down and I saw it was painted on the inside, I didn't have the heart to turn it down. So here we are, just doing our best, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I will say one of the most satisfying feelings in the world is when you have a big straight piece like this and you peel that plastic off. It's very satisfying to scrape this stuff off. I mean, not so much the ridged edges, but this straight, yeah, I liked that. And you know what? I'll share a trick with you. I didn't so much discover it on this video or on this piece. It was the next couple of pieces that I was doing when I was scraping the top. I had these old placemats that I'm not even sure where they came from. They were in my, I don't know. And they were perfect because they were kind of rough textured and I could wipe my carbide scraper off into the placemat thingy. A question that I've been asked multiple times is how do you safely dispose of your stripper goop stuff? Well, there are a few things that you can do. You can look at the back of your whatever product that you're using, you can look at the back. Usually they'll have some instructions. If not, then you can always put it in a sealed container, or you can wait until it completely dries before throwing away, or you can contact your city for like the hazardous waste. Some will have like a hazardous waste day, and you can do it that way as well. So now that we have completely stripped everything down, it's time to sand everything down. I use every sander in my arsenal to get all the little nooks and crannies because there are a ton of them on my piece, and you can see here how much I'm enjoying it. I'm using everything from a rotary sander to a palm sander to one of my handheld sanding pads to just an actual sandpaper with my hand. I'm still wearing my respirator because I don't want the dust in my face or in my lungs. Oh, that was a lot. Yeah, see, that's pretty dead on. I feel good about that. Like I mentioned before, this is one of two pieces. The top was a walnut color. The base was painted in white. This was the company. Ethan Allen did this. This was not an actual person. So I'm just trying to match, by memory, the piece that I saw at her house. And for anyone real worried right now that my hair is down, I did have it up, but it's long and I put it in a bun without a pin and then it fell out and then I had my hands covered in stain. So my hair is just down right now. Okay, it's all right. It's fine. I didn't get any in it. It's fine. You can see here that there's a little bit of an indentation, or I'm sure there's a more technical term for that, but this little line here inside the furniture that I couldn't get into it with my sock and glove. So I dipped a little paintbrush in the stain and got it that way. It made it a lot easier. And then I just wiped it and made it cohesive with the rest of the stain on the piece. I'm not the only talker in my family. When I'm doing furniture inside my studio, that is the time that my family thinks is conversation time. So we always have talks.
Damn. That's great.
I always knew I was going to spray paint the clear coat on this. It's not something I wanted to brush. It would be very difficult to get any kind of brush in those nooks and crannies and get a clear, smooth finish. So I opted for my handy dandy trusty paint sprayer. I gave her 2 coats and called it done. While the piece may be done, we can't forget about the hardware. I ended up, because Amazon was going to take a minute to get me the paint thinner that I usually use, and I ordered a different paint thinner. I poured just enough in a mason jar to cover the whole bit of the hardware. I stuck it in there. I ended up forgetting about it for a couple of days to where I was actually worried about it. And when I pulled it out, it was a great paint thinner. I will link it below. It took off every little bit. I did use a little brush and a rag to work in all the crinkles there that you see, but those were painted white as well. You can still see it in the little hardware hole there, but I ain't taking that shit out. And here she is, all finished and ready to go back home to meet her other half. This was my first time stripping a piece completely down from a painted finish, a painted factory finish at that, to bare wood. It was an extremely difficult job, and I will probably never do it again, but I'm really happy with the results. I hope this video has inspired you and made you laugh at least once. Play hard, peace out.